Hello, everyone. Welcome to All Things College and Career, the podcast to turn to for all of your college and career planning needs. With your hosts, Meg Gary
and Bobby Ryan. You came to the right place to gather as much information as possible about college and careers before you make any big decisions.
We are so glad you are here to
learn before you leap, each week with us.
We have an amazing guest on the podcast today, Howard Stephen Berg, who is recognized as the world's fastest reader. He's listed in the 1990 Guinness Book of World Records for reading more than 25,000 words per minute and writing more than 100 words per minute.
I mean, that's just incredible.
Absolutely.
We invited Howard on our podcast today because we believe that his strategies can give college students and professionals an incredible advantage on the job or in school. Howard uses his talents to train you on how to stay on top of the information that your success depends upon. He is also recognized as a leader in brain-based learning.
Howard has created many accelerated learning programs, including speed math and memory. His Time Warner book, Super Reading Secrets, is in its 28th reprint, and Barron's has recently requested him to write a text for students.
Howard is a graduate of SUNY Binghamton, where he majored in biology and then completed a 4-year psychology degree in just 1 year. No big deal.
Howard has appeared on over 1,100 radio and television programs, including Neil Cavuto, Jon Stewart, and Live with Regis. He was also the spokesperson for Sony e-reader and was in a commercial with Justin Timberlake, Peyton Manning, and Amy Sedaris.
Howard was such a fun and entertaining guest. He challenged us to some brain games, as you will see. But enough of our intro. Let's get on to our conversation with Howard.
Let's do it. Hello, Howard Berg. Welcome to All Things College and Career. Thanks so much for doing our podcast today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Hey, Howard. We are so excited to talk to the world's fastest reader, which is so cool and amazing. It's also our first time talking with anyone that's in the Guinness World Book of Records, I'm pretty sure. Meg, have
yes.
you?
No, not since yesterday, no.
Up until today.
Yeah.
So where are we talking to you from today?
I live near Dallas. I don't sound like a native Texan because I'm not from Texas. I'm from Brooklyn, but I live near Dallas. I'm in the suburbs. No.
Yeah, okay, just outside of Dallas, right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great area, close to the airport for all your
Yes.
traveling.
Yes.
And my husband and I spent some time living in Brooklyn, New York, so we have that in common.
Yeah,
nice.
That's right. Meg went to Brooklyn College for a while, and
Yeah.
so, yeah.
My sister went there.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, we are so fascinated by what you do, but we'd like to start our podcast by asking our guests 3 things that they love about their career or their job. And you are the CEO of the Howard Stephen Berg Learning System, which helps others with their reading speed and comprehension and also teaches others how to develop a total learning solution for their lives. So can you share with us 3 things that you love about your career?
Well, it changes the world. I mean, if you watch the news, does anyone think there's too many smart people making too many good decisions? And that's our number one problem. I'm not going to point any fingers at anyone. But, So I feel like I can help solve a lot of problems by empowering people with more information they use to make decisions. So maybe a doctor will read an extra 100 books and find a cure for cancer, or someone might find a way to balance the budget. I can't fix all the problems, but I can help everyone learn faster and understand better so they can perform better in whatever their niche is, and that'll help everyone be more successful. That's one thing I love.
That's excellent.
I like traveling, and I've been very fortunate. I trained in the Royal Thai Army in Bangkok, and I've been all over the world. I was in Australia, and it's kind of fun to be able to travel around the world and see other people and their cultures and get to make friends and
That's fascinating.
build bridges instead of blowing them up.
And you develop so much more empathy when you travel and meet people instead of surmising what they might be like from afar. So travel's important.
And I think it's a fun way to make a living by helping people be more successful, help their kids finish their studies, help seniors stay mentally fit, help business people stay on top of data so they can be more productive. I enjoy it. gives meaning to my life that I can help other people have better lives. And I think that's like the best of all worlds.
It's absolutely great that you're using your amazing skills to benefit others, and that's admirable, and we thank you.
Absolutely.
So you grew up in Brooklyn. Tell us how this all began.
Oh, I grew up in a bad part of Brooklyn. I grew up in the projects in East New York. And right now, it's the most violent project in the city of New York. It wasn't much better when I went. And there were a lot of gangs, and they were very violent. I mean, I had knives to my throat. I met Bernardo. It was like West Side Story without the music and dancing. I met Bernardo. He had a knife. He wasn't singing. He wasn't dancing.
Oh, that's scary.
But I found one safe place, the library. No gang kid would ever want to be caught dead in a library. So I read a lot.
Cool.
That's how I became a good reader. It was the only thing I could do and not get killed. And I developed a really good skill at it as a result. Sometimes the things that cause our greatest pain when we're younger become our assets.
So true.
When we're older. So I was very fortunate that it turned into a plus and not just a negative. But it was difficult because it couldn't have the normal life children have. Going out to play was a death wish.
And, that's scary. Yeah.
So, it was a very scary place to grow up. The library's safe. Have you ever been in a library and felt threatened? Ever felt threatened in a library?
No, gosh,
Can't say that I have.
No.
Yeah. Not too many gang members hanging out at the library.
No, you don't see that. That's not their favorite hangout.
No, that makes so much sense.
Well, that was a good place for you to go.
So that was your launch pad. But then what happened next?
I went to college at 17, majored in biology. I went to the State University of New York, Binghamton, which is in the top 10 public colleges in the country. And my junior year, I got fascinated by the brain and how it works. So I told the dean I want to do two majors, biology and psychology. He said, well, you only have 1 year left. You haven't had any courses. You have to do a whole 4-year program in 1 year. And you have to take 18 credits of science a term. And frankly, you're not smart enough. And I also had 3 part-time jobs. So I was working 18 hours a week. And I said I could do this. And I went in, I did 36 credits in science in 1 year, 2 4-hour labs each term. I had 3 jobs. And I did do it. And then I took the graduate record exam in biology. And using what I had learned, I was able to get in the 99th percentile. I got an 800. And then I wondered if it was me or I found a way that people can learn. So I had a school, had kids 11 to 15, young kids, gave them a sophomore college book, 30-chapter book, Lifelong Developmental Psychology. They did it in 1 week, and 15 out of 18 youngsters passed the CLEP, which is an AP test, in a week for full credit. Remember, they were 11 to 15.
11 to 15.
11 years old to 15.
So what is your technique? How do you master so much material in such a short amount of time?
I'll give you a lot of tips today.
Excellent. We love good tips.
First thing is reading isn't learning. And that's a big mistake people make. They think reading is learning, which is why many people give up. They think, I read 500 pages or I studied 5 hours. I didn't pass. Well, you didn't learn anything. You just looked at the book 5 hours and flipped pages. It's not
you
learning.
read words, but you didn't learn anything. Yeah.
So learning is a complex skill. Reading is input, but that by itself doesn't guarantee understanding. So I use reading to find what I need to know that's important and significant, and there's a way to figure that, and I'll show it to you.
Okay.
Then I use brain-based learning strategies to analyze what I found to make it make sense. And then I use memory skills to make sure I don't forget it. And I use emotional intelligence skills to make sure that I'm in the right state to use it so I don't have a panic attack when I'm using it. A lot of people studying and they have anxiety taking a test and they can't remember anything. So it's more than just simply reading. And if you'd like, I can go through some of the steps with you to get our audience started.
Yeah, we would love that.
That would be great.
Absolutely.
Let's go through those.
Because our audience mostly are researching colleges and careers, and a lot of people are looking to start a business or that sort of thing. So obviously this would be a helpful tool for all of our listeners.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, first I'll show them how to read faster.
Okay.
And then what to look for, because that's just as important. If you don't know what you're looking for, you'll learn a lot of useless information and not know what you need.
True.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how I read. No.
Too much useless information.
Too much useless information.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Okay.
Can I relate to that?
So when we're done, get a nonfiction book, because nonfiction books are structured to make it easy to learn. Novels are structured to take you by surprise. You don't know where it's going. So get a nonfiction book, read for a minute, normal. Don't do anything special. And at the end of the minute, using a timer, mark off with a pencil how far you went. So you have a measurement, an assessment. That's how far you read now.
Right.
Now the secret. Are you ready for the secret?
Yeah.
Yes.
Go to the second chapter. Use your hand and go from the left to the right margin, one line at a time, with your eyes following your hand as fast as you could comprehend. So as long as you know what you're reading, go quicker and quicker till you don't. And that's when you know you went too fast. Then slow down
So you're
just
moving
enough.
your hand across the page, like flat
One
across
line
the
at a
page.
time.
Or your
And you
finger.
keep your eye, yes, one line at a time,
Okay.
left to right margin.
Yeah.
Eyes following your hand at the same rate. Don't go faster than you can comprehend. Don't go slower than you can comprehend. And then do that for 5 minutes at your top speed. Then go back to the first chapter where you tested yourself and use the timer again. And this time use your hand and you'll go about 20 to 40% further than you did on the first trial just by using the hand. That's a good way to get started.
Wow.
Next thing is comprehension. What if I told you only have to know 5 things? Would that help?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Would it help more if I told you what they are?
Yeah.
Even more.
I would hate to have to guess.
Yeah, right. Because we wouldn't know where to start.
Yes.
There's only 5 things you need to learn. A lot
Okay.
of times people will say in business or school, there's so much information. I
Right.
don't know what to look for.
That's
Right.
so true. And more every day.
Exactly.
We have so much access to information.
Information doubles every 6 months. There's more printed in a week than all human history through the year 1800. There's a reason people
I
feel they're
believe
drowning
that.
in data.
Right. You certainly do. You can't keep up.
Here's the 5 things. The first thing is vocabulary. 80% of any new subject is learning the words. So the first thing you look for is any words you don't know. How do you know what words to look for? If it's nonfiction, it's not unusual for the writer to bold them, italicize them, or do something to make them look special or different. Even put them in a glossary in a textbook.
Right.
So words and meanings. Second thing, names and what they did. Who's in the book? What did they do? Third thing, any number, date, statistic, formula. What does it mean? How do you use it? Fourth thing, in every section and subsection in nonfiction, what are the 5 main concepts, the 5 takeaways? And lastly, look for any questions and answers. And here's a little help. If you have a book, like a textbook that has questions at the ends of chapters, read the questions first. Then you know what the writer expects you to know when you're done.
Yeah, that's
So
a good
when
tip.
you're reading, you know it's important because the writer expects you to know this
Right.
when you're done.
Right.
And you don't get to the end and say, I don't know the answer. Got to go look for it all over again.
Right. So would you recommend that as a strategy when you take the SAT exam or any kind of standardized test to read the questions first, like in the comprehension
Yes.
sections?
As fast as you can go down the page. Any question that made any sense, you probably saw something you know. That's the low-hanging fruit. Do that first.
Yeah.
Another strategy, if there's essays, read the essay questions before you take the test. Often something that you can use in the essay appears somewhere else on the test. But by the time you get to the essays, you have 10 minutes left. You have no time to look. But if you know ahead of time what you're looking for, you know when you found it.
Are you
Right.
allowed
So-
to do that? To look at
It
the...
depends on the test.
Yeah, it depends on the
On a
test.
normal, say, college test or a normal
Right.
exam, you can go to the bottom of the
Oh, I
test,
see
read
what
the
you're saying.
essays,
Yeah, you
and
sure
then take
can.
the test. And then you know, oh, wait a minute, this is something the essay's asking about. So you
Right.
actually get some insight.
That's a really good tip.
the other-
That
Yeah.
is a good
Yeah.
tip.
Because chances are the material above it is going to be related in some way. Right. And you can
Yeah.
draw from that on your essay. Yeah. Makes good sense.
Right. The essays name the 5 blood vessels and their function. Well, it's a circulatory test. And there's a multiple choice question. Which of the following blood vessels pumps oxygenated blood away from the heart? Artery, vein, venule, capillary, arterial. Well, you just got the 5 blood vessels you're going to need in the essay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
Right.
and you know it
They're
because
fresh
you
in
read
your
the
mind.
essay.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, what about when you learn all this knowledge what about retaining it and bringing it back, like memorizing and being able to retrieve it later? That's
Why
going to
don't
be...
we do it? And not only tell you how it's done, we'll do it. Is that more helpful?
Oh my gosh, we're going to be tested.
Here we go. Brace yourself.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, I'm going to give you 10 things to remember. I won't show you how. You won't be able to. That's the control.
Okay.
Then I'll show you how. And in just a few minutes' time, you'll know 10 things backwards and forwards effortlessly. And then when we're done, I'll show you how to actually use this as a tool in everything you learn for the rest of your life.
Okay. I'm nervous.
Here are the 10 things you want to remember.
Okay.
Don't write them down. You're going to actually be able to do this.
Nope.
Remember?
Okay.
Pole, shoes, tricycle, car, glove, gun, dice, skate, cat, bowling pins. Is it safe to say you don't know all 10 backwards and forwards right now?
I'm pretty sure
even
I could
close.
probably like 2 or 3.
Poles, shoes, something about bowling
cat.
Perfect. And notice what you remember was at the beginning and end,
Yes.
which is
Right.
normal. We tend to remember the beginning and end of a list. Now I'm going to show you a secret for learning this list super fast and very, very well. In fact, permanently. The Greeks discovered thousands of years ago, if you take a list you know and link it to the list you're learning, it takes a fraction of the time. I'm going to bet both of you can count to 10. Am I safe on this?
All right. Yeah. Pretty safe on that one.
Pretty safe, yeah. I think we can handle that.
And I'd like our audience to do this with us because it's super easy.
Yeah.
We're going to use those 10 numbers to learn 10 things super fast. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
The number 1 looks like a pole, like a flag pole or a lamp pole. Looks like a 1.
Mm-hmm.
When I say 1, you say pole. 1.
Pole.
And super tip is you only remember 10% of what you read, but 90% of what you say and do. So I'm going to have you say and do so you actually learn it.
Okay.
2 is shoes. How many shoes do you wear?
2.
What's 2?
Shoes.
1.
Pole.
Perfect. Getting smarter. 3. 3 is a tricycle. How many wheels are on a tricycle?
3.
What's 3?
Tricycle.
2.
Shoes.
1.
Pole.
Perfect. 4 is a car. How many tires on a car?
4.
What's 4?
Car.
Car.
2. Go to 2.
Shoes.
1.
Pole.
Pole.
3.
Tricycle.
I'm jumping on purpose.
You
'cause
are.
this is
You're
a different,
tricking us.
and it's working.
It
You're
is.
doing great.
Yes, it's working.
5 is a glove. How many fingers are in a glove?
5.
5.
What's 5?
Glove.
3.
Tricycle.
1.
Pole.
Getting smarter now. 6 is a gun. They love them in Texas. 6 gun, like a cowboy. 6 gun. What's
Yes.
6?
Gun.
What was 4?
Door. Car.
Car, right. 2.
Shoes.
Shoes.
Perfect. 7 is lucky and dice. 7 is dice. 7.
Lucky.
Dice.
Dice.
Right. 5. What was 5?
Glove.
Glove.
5
Yeah.
fingers.
3.
Tricycle.
And 1.
Pole.
Pole.
Perfect. Perfect. You're almost done.
Yeah.
Rhymes work. Say 8 skate.
8 skate.
Skate.
What's 8?
8 is
Skate.
skate.
6. What do they love in Texas?
Guns.
6 gun. Gun.
4.
Car.
Door. Car door. I always want to say door because
Perfect.
it's 4-door car. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
works.
yeah.
And 2.
Shoes.
Perfect. Only 2 more. 9. It's a cat. How many lives does a cat have?
9
lives.
So what's 9?
Cat.
Cat.
What was 7 lucky in?
Dice.
5.
Gloves.
3.
Tricycle.
Tricycle.
1.
Pole.
Pole.
Last one. 10. How many bowling pins are in a lane?
10.
10. So what's 10?
Bowling
Bowling
pin.
pins.
Do the whole list together. 1.
Pole.
Pole.
2.
Shoes.
3.
Tricycle.
4.
Car.
5.
Gloves.
Glove.
6. What do they love in Texas?
Gun.
Guns.
7 is lucky in.
Dice.
8 rhymes with.
Skate.
9 is a.
Cat.
And 10.
Bowling pins.
Bowling pins, yeah.
Perfect. Now here's how you use it. It's a tool.
Yes.
And
I feel
a lot
so
of times you.
accomplished.
Our brains are mush at this point, but that's
know.
okay.
No, we're gonna make it fun now.
Uh-oh.
Watch what you can do with this.
Okay.
Okay.
Imagine you're in a hotel. Your room is 314. How many times do you go to a hotel? You don't remember your room because every time you go, it's a different room.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
314. Instead of learning numbers, we'll use the pictures. 3 is a tricycle. 1 is a pole. 4 is a car.
Right.
A tricycle hits a pole on a car. Picture
Yeah.
it. A tricycle hits a pole on a car. Tricycle, what number?
3.
Hits a pole.
1.
On a car.
4.
That's your hotel room. It's also the value of pi in geometry.
That's
So
right.
you can use it in school for science, math, and history dates. In business for due dates, percentages, phone numbers, room numbers. So instead of struggling to remember numbers, you turn them into the pictures.
Oh my gosh, you know, Meg, we're going to be doing this. We're going to be like,
We will never forget our hotel room again.
I'm in pole, car, gloves. What room are you in?
I'm in cat shoes.
Exactly. And that's how I remember. I use a number of different memory tools for different purposes, but I thought this would be a fun one
This is
to
fun.
share with you and your audience so they could see how you could read fast and remember by using a memory tool.
I love
That's
it.
really great. That's a word association.
You know, I was a little nervous we wouldn't be able to do it, but we did it.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Oh, it's super. I use this with 3-year-olds. I have my grandkids when they were
way
3.
to make us feel good.
No. I'm encouraging
I
you
know
to
you
teach
are.
this to young kids.
It's a great
I'm working
idea.
with teachers in Oklahoma. I want the young kids, before they learn to read, to learn how to remember
Right.
and learn.
Right.
So when they're learning their letters and they're learning how to write, they can remember. Nobody teaches them how to learn, and then they don't remember. And then they get frustrated and give up.
It's so true.
I have to say, my husband has used this strategy for years. He's always telling me to use this. So he's done that
Really?
naturally.
I
He
didn't know
has.
that.
Yeah.
Is that
Of
how we
course
got
he's-
through medical school?
Well, of course, he's had to take a lot of tests, so he had to develop his own.
Well, you should have listened to him.
It's really fun, though. I mean, I've never done it with the numbers like that, so that's a really great tip.
Yes,
Thank
it
you.
sure is. So, can you tell us a few stories about how you've been able to help others succeed, especially students? I know that's really your
Yes.
passion anyway, helping students. So,
Well, I'll give you several. Stephen Terry graduated UTA, University of Texas Arlington, at 16, 4.0, economics major, went to OU at 18 for a master's at 18 in math.
Wow.
Graduated at 19 with a 397 GPA, and now is a professor at Yale.
holy smokes.
Micah Stanley passed the bar in California at 19.
Wow.
His sister's 15, first-year law student, will be youngest person to pass the bar in history. The second youngest will be his 17-year-old brother, who's in his second-year law school. And his 22-year-old brother's a pilot for Southwest and an attorney. Let me think. Justin Brummett.
So
He's an
you've worked
11-year-old.
you've worked with all of these?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Now, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Are they gifted people naturally, or are they just regular learners and
Yeah,
you
good
were just
question.
able to teach them?
Well, I was going to tell you about Justin.
Okay,
He's a
go
C
for it.
student.
Okay, here
C
we go.
student at 11. C student.
Yep.
11-year-old C student. 22-year-old English professor.
Wow, professor.
Okay, here's a
PhD.
good one. Amy, I don't want to give you a last name. She was special ed.
Okay.
She had 3rd grade reading in the 9th grade.
All right.
So they were basically saying, we'll teach you how to say welcome to Walmart and tie your shoes.
Yeah.
That's what they were basically.
Right. Yep.
So we got done with her. She had her 2-year degree with a 4.0 when her high school friends that she started with finished high school, went to Baylor on a full scholarship, had an A average, and got a master's at 22.
Wow.
Holy
She was
smokes.
special ed. So
Wow.
I'm going to tell you, though, she worked very hard. Her mother worked with her.
Right.
And we gave her good tools.
Yes.
But she was willing to listen to what we told her, and she did what we gave her to do.
Okay, so
And
you're
that's why
saying
it worked.
anybody can do this. Anybody can employ
We did a
these tools.
double-blind study, a double-blind efficacy study where I wasn't allowed in the city they did it. They used the program. And everyone in the 100-person sample doubled or quadrupled in a few hours with outstanding comprehension. We used the Nelson-Denny, which is a standardized test for speed and comprehension, to make sure the B test wasn't simpler, so it made them look smart.
Right.
We split them into 2 groups. 50 did A and B, and 50 did B and A. Everyone doubled or quadrupled, irrespective
Right.
of which test they did first. So I can honestly say we've proven a normal person could go at least 100% faster
Wow.
with very good comprehension using this program.
That's the key, the very good comprehension, because reading fast is nothing without knowing what the heck you're reading, right?
And we make sure when they get the program that we help them. If they need help, we have customer support. And when they can't help them, I personally get involved. I was the president of my Rotary Club. And it's really important to me that we do what we say. So if we can't make someone succeed at what I teach, then we give them their money back. And I don't have a lot of refunds because I make sure everybody can learn what I teach.
So how do people get in touch with you if they want to take your program? Or
really simple. Go to Berg Learning, BERG learning.com. There's some free lessons, by the way, there. berglearning.com. We set up a special coupon, MEG10. They'll get 10% off.
All right. I like that.
is it
By
the
doing
number
that-
10 or spelled out TEN?
No, the number 10.
Okay.
Meg 10.
Thank you for saying that, but you're right. The number 10.
Okay.
MEG10.
10 would be bowling pins, people, in case everybody.
Right. Bowling pins.
Meg bowling pins.
Yeah, Meg bowling pins. Exactly.
Oh my gosh, you're funny.
Okay, Meg 10. Awesome.
MEG10. So we'll give them 10% off.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. So on your webpage, for people that don't know, that will probably visit now, that you're not just teaching reading, you have writing, math,
Right.
memory. Can you talk about a
Yes.
little bit about each of those courses?
Sure. I wrote a book in 5 hours. It went number 1 the next day on Amazon. So I created a program.
Oh my
And
gosh.
how to get in
What
how
book
to
was
get in
that?
flow. It was a speed reading book. It was a short book. It was about 60 pages. But a normal person could knock out a 60-page book in a day, a half a day, very easily using what I teach.
Right.
And so it's about flow. If you ever sat down and said, I know I have to get this done, but I don't know what to say,
Yeah.
you won't have that problem anymore. You'll know what to say and get it done. The memory program is a number of memory strategies in addition to the one I gave you, because different strategies work better for certain people and certain subjects. So what you use in a language, someone else might use reading a science book, and someone else might use reading a novel. But everyone's doing it a little differently, but it fits their learning style. And it's different in different subjects. Subjects you know well are easier than subjects you don't know anything about. So we give people a toolbox to pick which tools will work for them in each subject. And then the math program, if you'd like, I could show you some speed math. Would you like to see
Sure.
something?
I would
Sure.
love to see some.
We're going to do 103 times 107. I want you to picture it as 103 is on top, then there's an X, and 107 under it.
Yep.
So it's vertical. You could picture that, right?
Sure.
Right, of course.
How much bigger than 100 is 103?
3.
3.
How much bigger than 100 is 107?
7.
So you write the 3 next to the 103 to the right, and the 7 next to the 107 to the right.
Yep.
And those are the two differences. And then you multiply the two differences. How much is 3 times 7?
21.
You're almost done. Now we can add diagonally. 103 plus 7 is
10.
10.
or 107 plus 3 is 100.
10.
10.
It's always the same,
Yep.
so you pick the easier way.
Okay.
So 103 times 107 is 11,021. 11021. That's speed math.
That is speed
Oh
math.
my gosh. So does that work for anything?
It works for numbers that are greater than 100 and near 100. There's a number of other ways to do this, and we have different. I'm showing you something I can teach on the air without visual,
Right.
super fast. Our programs are all video, so people can see the examples and,
Right.
Oh,
and
that's good.
practice them.
Yeah.
It's visual.
But I wanted to give you something that would be easy for you to process without actually physically seeing it.
Right.
So do you
Yeah.
think people without writing skills or without math skills could benefit from these programs?
These programs are designed to give them the skills.
Yeah.
So they'll be able to do it. That's why I've worked with so many young people and companies. I just trained the Green Berets, the Special Forces at Fort Bragg, the Thai Royal Army in Bangkok, to give them an edge, because with them it's life and death.
Sure.
Right.
It's not just about reading a book, it's about survival.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they were interested, and I'm training teachers in 2 cities in Oklahoma on how to use this in their schools so I could collect data
I think,
on how well it's improving their test scores.
Have you seen any results? Or
from the
Well,
school.
we just started with them. I can only tell you my own school. Every student had scholarships. One kid got into all 3 service academies. It
Wow.
was really exciting to be part of that.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
was this a school in
It
Dallas?
was online. It was an online
Oh.
senior and junior high school, and it was for homeschoolers.
Okay.
But we discontinued it a few years ago. I had to do some other things. I didn't have time.
I see. Wow. So I noticed you seem to place a value on emotional intelligence or emotional IQ. Can you touch on that a bit?
A lot. I'll actually show you how to do it. I'll give you an example of why it's important.
I love these examples. These are fun.
Yeah.
If I was to teach you how to drive and say, oh, you're ready for your road test, and you are, and you go and make your appointment, and you come back and say, I failed. I said, why did you fail? I got nervous. It was a test.
Yeah.
Can you relate to that?
Yes.
How many times people learn and
I
then
feel
they
like
fail
I'm not a
of-
test taker because I get nervous. Like I know the material, but then get in there and
That's EQ.
Yeah.
Would you like to see how to create a state so you could fix that?
Yes.
Okay. For you, you're sitting, so you're at a mic, so you can't stand. But for our audience, stand up for this one exercise.
Unless you're
stand up.
I'm
driving.
going to show you how to wake. Well, you can't stand up. You won't be near your mics.
Right.
I'm going to show you how to wake up. So when you're taking classes after working all day, you can stay alert. Or you have a business meeting and you're dropping, you can wake up. Or driving in traffic. Anytime you need a quick pick-me-up and don't want the caffeine that's going to keep you up all night, this will work.
Okay.
So first question, the left side of the brain controls which part of your body?
Right. Oh, you mean,
Right.
you
And
mean,
the right-
yeah,
Yeah, you got it right.
I thought you
were
didn't
right.
know if you meant math brain,
Yeah, that's
Yes,
what
the
I was.
right
no.
side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, you got it right.
Yep.
You got it perfect.
Okay.
And the right side controls
The left.
Perfect. So I want you to take your left hand, touch your right shoulder, and then your right hand, tap your left shoulder, back and forth. So like the Macarena without the
Okay, yeah,
music.
you're
Okay.
switching back and forth.
Yeah.
I can do that at my mic.
So that's kind of a brain massage because you're using one side then the other.
Right.
Now, take your left hand, touch your right knee, then your right hand, touch your left knee, and you'll see you have to think a little more because both sides of your brain are doing something. One side's moving the knee, the other side's moving the hand. So it takes a little more thought.
Okay. Yeah.
Perfect. Now, raise your right hand and put your thumb in your fist, inside your fist, and say this like you mean it. I feel great.
I feel great.
great.
Pull your hand down and say yes with passion. Yes.
Yes.
You have to feel it
I'm
for it to
feeling
happen.
it.
If you don't have, you can't have a state that isn't there. So we're going to do 3 sets of these. When you're done, I'll show you how to create the state that will wake you up.
Okay.
So we're going to start with shoulder taps.
Okay.
Go at my speed. First with left to right, right to left. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Knee taps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do you feel?
Great.
I feel great.
Great. Yes.
Yes.
And you do another set. This time a little faster. Ready?
Okay, go.
Shoulder taps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Knee taps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do you feel?
Great.
Yes.
Yes.
Last set. As fast as you can go. Shoulder taps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do you feel?
Great. Great. Yes.
Yes. Give yourself a big hand. If you're standing up, sit down and smile. Now, you know what happens when you do this 3 times?
Yeah.
Nothing. Nothing. But you probably would like something. So I'm going to show you how to do that.
I'm so glad we
Remember
did all that
Pavlov?
for nothing.
No, there's a reason. There was a reason for it.
Okay.
Remember Pavlov? He
Yes.
rang a bell,
Yeah.
he fed a dog. Eventually the dog drooled. You don't want to drool.
No.
The latest studies show habits take 90 days. So every day you tap your shoulders, tap your knees, slow, medium, fast. And you grab your thumb at the end and go, I feel great, yes, because you feel more alert after doing this.
Right.
Now you're in an important meeting. You don't want to tap your shoulders. You'll look strange. But you can grab your thumb and
Yes.
say to yourself, I feel great, yes. And your brain remembers this is your bell.
Yeah.
Grabbing your thumb and saying, I feel great, yes, is the bell. And it creates the state of being more alert that you created. In the same way, I teach people to create states for relaxation and focus, even genius. So you can create a state you want ahead of time, condition it, and then have a trigger you can use to elicit the state when you need it. So now you're not going to get nervous taking that road test, because I didn't just teach you how to drive, but how to stay relaxed during
Yeah.
the test, which is a much better
That's
way to
awesome.
do it.
So do you
That
think
is
this would
awesome.
work for athletes, like before a big race or something?
I bet.
I have a friend. His name is Dr. Cole, Dr. U. Cole. He's a leading hypnotherapist. He works with Super Bowl winning teams, the Stanley Cup, and what's the other one? Basketball.
The NBA.
And he's had teams that have gone into the finals and won the big prize by teaching them how to create states. I'll give you a quick story. He's 74. He leg presses 900 pounds.
Holy,
So he goes
crazy.
into a gym with these young athletes. They're like 20 years old, right? And they're like, what's this 74-year-old guy going to teach us? So he goes in the gym and he does like 10 sets of 900
Holy
pounds.
smokes.
Wow.
And they look at him and say, whatever you're doing, I need that.
Yeah, right. I want to be able to do that at 74.
Right. So once he
I can
demonstrates.
do 400 pounds.
You can.
I'm 70. I do 400 pounds.
Wow.
That's pretty amazing.
So he gets the young guy's attention after that little demonstration, huh?
Oh, yeah. They stop laughing.
Yeah,
They
right.
stop laughing really quickly.
Yeah.
Like, whatever this guy's doing, I think I need to learn it.
Right.
So do you think this would help people that have physical pain, like bad shoulder, bad hip, bad knees, bad back? Do you think this kind of emotional IQ exercises would help people with
The
pain?
emotional IQ could help, yes, but the reading program really isn't designed to alleviate those states.
No.
But what I'm teaching people to do is how to create states. And absolutely, in fact, I talked to you about Dr. Cole. One of his clients was a nurse who was allergic to a painkiller, and she needed eye surgery. And they could only use that painkiller, and they couldn't use it, and she needed the eye surgery. He hypnotized her on the telephone.
Whoa.
On the telephone, and she had eye surgery with no anesthesia. They used a scalpel and
crazy.
they cut
Gosh.
cut open her eye.
gosh.
She had zero pain. So
Whoa.
if you're asking me, can this be used for that? Absolutely.
Right.
And we had another person he worked with who had a shin that needed surgery, and again on the phone. And they had shin surgery with zero anesthesia and zero pain. So it's amazing what the brain can do with the right tools.
So does your emotional IQ exercises teach these tips, or do you have to go through Dr. Cole?
I don't teach those tips because he's an expert at hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
I'm a psychobiologist. I know how to use it. What I do teach is how to focus, how to stay calm, how to get energy, things you need for school
Right.
and business.
Right.
You know, but
to help you
he
learn.
works with people with serious health issues, and I try to do what I do best. And if I know someone else is better at something than I am for a different
right.
application, I'll refer them.
Sure.
I would rather have them go to a better qualified person than me for something like that. That's not what I'm known for. But if you want to learn faster,
Yes.
understand
You're
better,
the man.
Yeah.
I can do that, and I can promise you it'll work. And if it doesn't, I'll give you your money back. So, and
Right.
I don't want to give you your money back. I want it to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're motivated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
so
right. That makes sense. That's just
yeah.
good business.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
why do we read so slowly? What are we doing that limits us?
That's an easy one. You asked a good question. When you're driving in a car, you're reading the road. And where I live, the speed limit's 70.
Right.
It's different in different places, but 70 is a common speed on a highway. You're reading the road in 4 directions, front, back, left, and right. And you're watching your gauges and your GPS. And at the same time, you're talking to your friends, you're on the phone and listening to the radio.
Right.
And you're bored. You read a book in one direction at 200 words a minute is the mode. And you only remember 10%. Why is it easier to read in 4 directions at 70 miles an hour in a car than read 200 words a minute in a book? And the answer to that has the answer to your question. When you're reading the road, you're looking at a movie, you're picturing everything, and you're storing it visually. When you're reading a book, it's like someone is in the back of your head talking aloud, one word at a time. Most people read at the speed they speak because they're listening to a book with their eyes. By teaching you to see a little more, make it more visual and a little less auditory, it immediately can increase a normal person by over 100% in just a short time with very good comprehension. And that's the reason you read so slowly.
Ah,
So-
that makes so much sense. It is true. We can do a million things while we're driving down the road. We're processing constantly.
And you're bored.
And you're bored.
You're bored.
You still can chat, drink your smoothie and
We don't do any of that,
whatever
Bobby.
else. Oh, no, God, not at all.
So why do you recommend using your hands to speed read?
Good question. A lot of people do some very negative things when reading, like they read something interesting and it's like, I'll read it again because it was interesting.
Right.
Well, you know what? You don't have unlimited time. If you keep spending your time reading what you already read, you're not going to have time to read what you haven't reached yet.
Right.
That's one problem. Another one is some people read what's called visual regression. They have to read each word again. The dog ran, the dog ran out, the dog ran out, the dog ran out the door.
Yeah.
And that's how they read. But when you're using your hand, it keeps your eye focused and continually looking at new material. And as you go quicker and quicker, you actually start using a different part of your brain that's more visual, and you begin to experience it more as a movie and less as a conversation. So it helps you to retain it as well, because a picture has so much detail in it. And when I'm remembering what I read, I play my picture back. But if you'd like, I could actually tell you what it is you need to look for. I think I told you earlier, the 5 things.
Yes. Yeah.
So what I'm doing is I'm looking for those 5 things at high speed, and I know when I found them, and I know what to do with them. So now I'm not just trying to read everything equally. I'm looking for things that actually matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you just kind of visually, because now it's more of like a movie, I guess, you kind of just visually eliminate anything that's not important. And you learn how all the important stuff just comes off the page to you in a way, or?
Well, I actually do it in 3 stages.
Okay.
First, I read a whole book in 5 minutes. And at that speed, I'm looking for what's in the book.
What the heck?
Does it have anything I can use?
Yeah.
And is there anything here that makes it easy to find things that are important, like bolding, pictures, charts, etc.?
Right.
Then I go back and I use, this is when I'm learning.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a graduate course in educational psychology in 7 hours. Now it's a 5-month course. I didn't do it in 5 months and I didn't do it in 10 weeks. I did it in 7 hours, but I didn't do it in 5 minutes either.
Right.
And so the second stage is mark off what you need to know and don't understand.
Right.
So you can focus on that and make it meaningful using study skills that I teach. So now you know what it means. Do you need to remember it? And the third step is remembering what you found was important and didn't know already.
Right.
So you're creating memories. So you're finding what's important. It's high speed. You're analyzing what you didn't understand using brain-based learning strategies, and you're using your memory skills to make sure you don't forget it. So when you combine all of that, you're not just reading fast, you're integrating reading with study skills and memory skills to create a total learning outcome rather than simply flipping pages and not knowing 5 minutes later what you just looked at.
Yeah. I could have used all this when I was going through college.
For sure.
Use it now.
Well, true.
You're young.
I can use it now. Right. Yeah.
I had an
never too late.
84-year-old Ruth Lubin read 3 books in 3 hours the day after I taught her, and I don't think you're 84.
Not yet.
Not yet, thank goodness. But wow, good for Ruth. Kudos to Ruth.
Go Ruth. Wow, it's right.
So how do you prevent your mind from wandering? For a lot of people, when they're reading a textbook, it's just not that interesting. And it's hard work learning. So how do you prevent your mind from not thinking about like what you want to make for dinner that night? Or
There's several things I recommend for that. It depends on what's going on. Well, one thing I teach is focus in my program, how to focus. When I got out of college, I majored in psychobiology. I got interested in consciousness. So I studied yoga and a lot of other things. So I learned how to focus very, very well. I'll give an example. I was on Cavuto, and he had me read the healthcare bill, which at the time was 1,500 pages in 50 minutes. I read the whole healthcare bill.
wow.
Oh my gosh,
And
that is a big.
I have an earpiece in my
probably one
ear.
of the few people that has
That actually read
it.
it. Yeah.
There was actually 3 of them. There were 3 bills. The second bill was 2,000 pages. That was the House bill. There was a Senate bill, a House bill, and the final bill was 2,600 pages, and I read all 3.
Wow.
But I'm just talking about the 1,500-page bill right now. So I have this earpiece in my head, and I can hear he's speaking to Pelosi, and at that time was Cantor and Boehner. A lot more interesting than the healthcare bill to listen to. But if I'm listening to that, I'm not going to remember anything.
Right.
Because I'm reading a page and a half a second.
Right.
I got a lot of learning to do.
Jeez.
So at the time I'm reading this, I'm tuning out. I meditated for 90 minutes before I started reading to be focused.
Wow.
And then when he called my name, Howard, I had to stop look up and answer questions, and then immediately go back to reading and tune everything out.
Holy smokes, I can't imagine.
That's one of the things I teach in my program. It's not something I can teach in 2 seconds or like some of the things I taught earlier, but it's learnable. It is a learnable skill.
So did he
tune out distractions.
Did he ask you to report on the healthcare bill right on live TV?
Yes. And then I did an analysis and everything I predicted happened.
Wow. So what was your prediction?
I said it was going to cost much more money than people were projecting.
Yeah.
And I was right about that. Was the big problem. It ended up being much more expensive than they expected. And I said that right away was going to be the big problem.
Yeah.
But I also said it helped a lot of people.
Sure.
If you were sick and you couldn't get health insurance or your kid was sick.
Yeah, no pre-existing conditions, which was huge.
Of course, they didn't put any of that on the air. It was Fox. They only put the best.
Of course. They edited out all the positives. Yeah.
All of it, everything.
Yeah.
No, it was worse than that. It was worse than that. I said, here are 3 bad things. And I gave them I said, now let me tell you 3 good things. What they did is when I said that, they cut my mic off.
Oh my God.
Didn't tell me.
Wow.
And left me speaking for 5 minutes to a dead mic
about the good things,
the positive things, and never said anything.
Oh my gosh, I'm not surprised.
There it is in a nutshell.
Not surprised for a second.
Yeah.
So
I was a little upset by that. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Howard, even though we could talk to you all day, I mean, you're just an amazing guy.
Yeah, this was really informative and fascinating.
Yeah, I know.
Well, we'll come back next time we could do writing or how to be a genius.
I think that's a great idea. I'd love to do another interview with you. We should definitely plan on that. But as you know, we usually wrap up our podcast with some rapid fire questions just for fun. And are you ready to tackle those?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. I love it. Okay. All right. What are 3 words you would use to describe yourself?
Dedicated, committed, compassionate.
Excellent. Great words. So, some place you visited that you loved?
Bangkok. It was really interesting. Really interesting.
Yeah, I haven't been there, but would love to go. What did you love about it? The culture?
It's so different. I mean, I've been to Australia and Europe, but it's an Asian culture, so it's very different. It's a Buddhist-focused culture, too. I found it very interesting because it's so different from you go to England, it's still like, the U.S.
Not
they
so
still have
different.
Kentucky Fried Chicken,
right. You still see McDonald's, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to experience a completely different culture.
Yes.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Night.
Yeah, me too. Meg too.
I have trouble waking up every morning.
Oh, I know. Have to though, right? All right.
Yep.
Do you have a pet peeve?
I'm very concerned right now with the direction our world is going.
Oh, gosh.
In general, there's just so much going on. I have grandkids.
Yeah.
And kids, and I don't see a bright future right now for any of them. And I'm trying my best to get these tools in the right hands to help change that. I can't fix everything, but I can help the people who can find the solutions, find more information that will help them succeed. And that's really what it's about for me. Yeah. It's not just an income thing, it's a commitment.
I love that. Yep. And everybody that can do their small part should.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, everyone matters.
Right.
The only reason you and I are here today, someone's growing our food.
Right.
And someone's making our clothes and someone's generating our electricity. If they weren't out there doing that, you and I wouldn't be here now. We'd have to do it all ourselves.
I love that. Everyone matters. And that's so true. And, I think we share your concerns for sure. I think anybody that's got their eyes open are concerned.
It's terrifying what's happening right now.
It is, absolutely. Oh, gosh. Well, on a brighter note, how many hours of sleep do you like to get?
As many as I can. I try to do at least, I like to get 8 to 9 at least.
To function your best, 8 to 9.
Yeah.
I love
but
that.
It isn't always possible. Just things I have to do. But when I can, if I have a choice, I try to do that.
All right. Are you a good cook?
Actually, I am. I bake bread. I got a bread machine, and I bake all the bread for my wife.
Aww.
And I got a smart pot, and I learned how to cook, and I was making her dinners. So,
those are the ones you see on the Tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always wanted one of those. Yeah.
And I figured, she does so many things that, if I could help her, that would be nice. And it's more like, to me, it's like chemistry. You add this much, you get a scale.
Yeah. Right.
And you just put the ingredients in like you did in the chem lab, and you close the pot and you come back and it's food. It's kind of fun.
Food you can eat instead of
Yeah.
All right. Something on your bucket list.
I want to go back to Australia. I was there to launch the 4G network for the phone company years ago, and I had a ticket for my wife, but my dog was dying and she wouldn't leave it, and it did die while I was gone, so she made the right choice. And she never got to see it. And it was so wonderful. I really want to be able to go back and take her so she can experience that for herself. I would enjoy seeing it myself again.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've been, and I want to go back too.
It's wonderful.
It is. Okay. Favorite holiday?
That's hard to say because I work every day.
Right.
I guess I don't know if you call this a holiday, but I say my birthday.
There you go.
That's okay. Well, that's your holiday for sure. Right.
That's my personal holiday.
That's
I get
right.
free food at the restaurants.
There you go.
Free desserts.
That's right. They
People
come out
send me
sing.
presents.
Right.
I kind of like it.
You know what? I like the way you think there. I think that's a good one. Oh my gosh. Okay. Favorite movie or TV show?
There's a couple. I like The Lord of the Rings. I also like Star Wars, but it's not one movie. It's more like an endless series of movies.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy those movies a lot. And I guess favorite book, it would depend on the topic.
Yeah.
I have a wide range of interests.
Yep.
I'd say in business, it would be Unlimited Selling Power by Donald Moyne, which is an NLP book on marketing, which was fascinating. And on the other extreme was Franz Bardone. He wrote a number of books on the meaning of life and creation, and I found them to be very insightful and extremely different than what I normally read. And then there's a whole lot of other books that I've been very influenced by. One of the big influences in my life was Konrad Lorenz, who's the father of ethology. And I read his book on the evolution and modification of behavior. And that's what made me get interested in the brain and learning when I was majoring in biology.
So you probably read that in a couple of days or something.
Well, I read pretty fast. I can read 10 books in 3 hours.
Oh my gosh. That's just amazing. I just can't imagine. Like when I'm reading a book, usually like at bedtime, and then the next night I'm like, okay, what did I just read?
I'm going to have to go back and reread half of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. All right. This is just kind of funny question for you. Basically, paper books or ebooks?
Actually, studies have shown that paper books you retain and remember better and learn better.
Ooh,
Ebooks are better for the environment.
Right.
They certainly save a lot of trees, but there's no question that physical books give you a better long-term retention.
I wonder why. Is that because
I know
you're
why.
turning the... Okay, tell us. Yeah.
Because there's a tactile dimension. Like if you're in the middle of a book, you get a sense that there's a lot left. If you're at the end, you're near the end. If the beginning, and then there's a spatial memory. You remember where the picture was on the page, or the chart, or the diagram. Where in an ebook, it can flip as you change the font size or anything else. The pages all change and the layouts all change. You don't have that same tactile input, and that tactile input, that does matter.
And it's funny you say that, because when somebody will say, hey, what are you reading? I'll say, I can't think of the title or the author right now, and it's because it's an ebook. And when you pick up a book off your bedstand and it's a paper book, you see the title and the author every time you pick it up, right?
Good point.
But if you're reading an ebook, you don't even see it.
It's where you left off. Yeah.
Right.
Probably the act of turning pages makes a difference somehow too. Just that motion. I don't know.
Yes,
You
it
physically
does. It
turn
actually
pages.
does.
Yeah.
It does.
Well, you made it through the rapid fire questions like a pro.
And again, we want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing such great tips to our listeners who, want to...
Give them the website, Berg Learning.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. That will be everywhere. Berglearning.com, BERG learning.com. That will be in our show notes. And Meg 10.
Use the code and get a little discount. And we will include that link in the show notes. But head on over there if you want to sign up for one of Howard's courses and become a quicker reader.
Not just reading. Gosh, so many things.
Math and EQ, yes.
Yeah, right. Everything. So just go check out his website, berglearning.com. So thank you so much, Howard. This has been such a treat and a pleasure. And I think it's going to be so much fun to just tell my kids, hey, guess who I just talked to?
I know, absolutely. Oh, well, thanks again for coming on. And we hope to do this again for sure.
I'd love to see you. And if you'd like to be a speaker for my Rotary group, I have an online Rotary group. We're always looking for interesting speakers. Let me know. It's from howard.com/Rotary. Any of our listeners that have an interesting topic they'd like to present. It's online. You don't have to go anywhere.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
We'd love to have
All right.
Okay. Yeah, we would love to do that. And yes, for our listeners, anybody out there, from howard.com/Rotary. And we will have that in the show notes. Well, thanks again, Howard. Have a great rest of your day and hope to talk to you again soon.
You too.
I really want to thank Howard for coming on our podcast. What a fun guest.
He sure was. Informative as well.
Yes, I think his programs would definitely help anyone who wants to gain an edge in school or on the job.
Oh, most definitely.
To learn all about the programs Howard offers or to purchase his book, Super Reading Secrets, head on over to berglearning.com. And of course, we will include that link in our show notes.
And to receive a 10% discount on any of Howard's products, just enter the code MEG10, MEG10. Just remember, Meg bowling pins, MEG10.
Thank you to all our listeners who make this podcast possible. We really appreciate each and every one of you.
Absolutely. And to help us keep this podcast going and growing, please take just a couple of seconds to subscribe to our podcast. This really helps us out.
Have a great day, everyone.
Have a great day.